Good morning to everyone here today, and we're glad you're able to join us virtually. Please be advised that we are recording today's webinar. We begin today by acknowledging that we walk on the traditional territories of Indigenous peoples, and we recognize their history, spirituality, culture, and stewardship of the land. We are grateful to all Indigenous groups for their commitment to protect the land and its resources, and we are committed to reconciliation, partnership, and enhanced understanding. We are joined today by the Honourable Mary Ng, Minister of Small Business, Export Promotion and International Trade, for a very special announcement. Welcome, Minister Ng, Markham Mayor Frank Scarpitti. I'd also like to acknowledge a few special guests joining us on today's webinar, MP Helena Jastik and Councillor Alan Ho. On behalf of our team, with 3 members from our board, including Paul Bradley, our board chair, and 2 great Canadian founders and tech leaders, Jason Tam and Andrea Baptiste, thank you for joining us today. Following Minister Ng's announcement, we will be joined by 2 founders, Karen Wong, co-founder and CEO of Tech Undivided, and Anne Genge, CEO of Alexio. Finally, at the end of today's event, we will have a media Q&A, so we ask any media on the line today to please stay on once the event has concluded. With that, let's get started. My name is Melissa Chi, and I am the President and CEO of ventureLAB. ventureLAB is a leading innovation hub in York Region, Canada's most diverse city based here in Markham, and Canada's 2nd largest tech cluster with more than 4,300 tech companies who have created more than 60,000 jobs. Our organization is led by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs, leveraging decades of industry experience of creating IP-rich companies here in Canada. In fact, our top scaling companies have collectively created 1,000 jobs, raise $200 million in investment capital, and generate over $140 million in annual revenue. At ventureLAB, our mission is to grow globally competitive tech titans that build to scale from Canada for global markets. Our vision is that together, in partnership with public and private partners, that ventureLAB is going to be creating a globally recognized hub in commercializing breakthrough products and growth companies on a global scale in key areas of strength: hardware, enterprise software, and health. On the journey of commercialization, global scaling organizations must focus on attracting and retaining highly skilled talent, securing customers, raising capital, and creating IP-rich products. It is these key pillars that ventureLAB focuses our engagement with founders on their journey in scaling their companies. Our innovation hub in Markham is home to over 45 tech companies and partners who have created over 300 jobs, and we engage with hundreds of tech companies each year to scale their companies and grow great products. These companies, we're excited, are creating disruptive products, and for a select few, will become tomorrow's tech titans to globally compete with today's Fortune 500. With that, I am delighted to have the Honourable Mary Ng, Minister of Small Business, Export Promotion and International Trade, and MP for Markham-Thornhill with us today for this announcement. Mary is a very, very passionate leader, an advocate for small business, entrepreneurship, and innovation on a global scale to truly elevate Canada on a global stage. Moreover, Minister Ng is a tireless champion and a great example of a leader who really has leveled the playing field, removed roadblocks, and ensures that Canada's most exceptional leaders, independent of backgrounds, have an equal opportunity to pave the way to true gender parity and an inclusive tech ecosystem. Minister, I'd like to thank you and turn it over to you.
Well, thank you so very much, Melissa. It is great to be here with you, and it's wonderful to see everyone. I was saying to our extraordinary mayor that that I miss him so much because normally, given how active we are in the business community, but indeed like all over Markham and throughout Thornhill, I mean, we get a lot of opportunity to see one another, and ventureLAB, of course, is is a common ground for me because it's one of the most fun things I get to do when I'm in the riding, to come in and see the new businesses that are in there and to see what's going on. And these days, it has certainly been tougher for all of us, but it's extraordinary to be here with everyone virtually. And virtually as close as we possibly can because we can see each other, and that's really great. I too want to acknowledge that we're gathered on the traditional territory of the peoples of the Anishinaabe, the Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, the Mississaugas of the New Credit First River First Nations. And and it's great to also be joined by my wonderful colleague, member of parliament colleague in Helena Jasic, and of course a local councillor who is not who's not a stranger to us in Alan Ho, but just a word or two on Helena. It has, on the theme of it's been challenging for us to all physically be together. I think the volume of work that has come out has been extraordinary. And I couldn't do what I do without having a great neighbor and friend and a hardworking MP like Helena. So it's great to be here with you. And it goes out without saying that it's great to be here with Frank Scarpitti. I mean, come on.
That's awesome.
So I'm really thrilled to be here to make an important announcement, particularly because of what the announcement is, to help women entrepreneurs right here in ventureLAB. And I love hearing what ventureLAB has been doing. And if I think about my own portfolio in both small business and in export promotion and international trade, you are at the very core of that, and at the very core of it, enabling women-owned ventures and leaders to be able to turn your innovative ideas and certainly into successful Canadian businesses. And the aspiration is absolutely right on point. You're going to be on that Fortune 500 list. There's no question about it. We're just going to be doing what we need to do to get us there. I mean, the prosperity that is that the incredible talent and the and your creation, and really the government at all levels working together with our entrepreneurs and an organization, and sort of like the ecosystem that ventureLAB sort of crowds in, is tremendously exciting. And this also has been a really exciting week, I know, for you, but also for me, because the news of your partnership with Silicon Catalyst is wonderful, supporting hardware and Silicon Valley silicon startups with transformative solutions, healthcare, telecommunications, advanced computing. It's all terrific. And I know many who are here today with us are graduating from the first cohort of the Tech Undivided. So absolutely congratulations to all of you. And I would like to also welcome all the women entrepreneurs who are going to take part in the next session of this wonderful program. And it has long been a priority of mine to help women entrepreneurs, especially the vibrant, diverse, successful women like everyone who are here today, and the two that I'm going to be speaking with directly, to break down those barriers and to create the pathways for your success. And amid COVID-19, this is more important than ever before. And we know that even today, women entrepreneurs and business owners are facing systemic barriers to economic success. I've talked to women entrepreneurs from coast to coast to coast. You always wore many hats. You're wearing even more of those hats, and I don't even know how you're juggling it all the way you are right now. Those systemic barriers are disproportionately affecting women during COVID-19 for a whole variety of reasons. Businesses, women-owned businesses tend to be smaller. They're likely still to be represented in some of the hardest hit sectors of our economy, whether it be hospitality, retail, the service sectors. So we need to double down and keep supporting our women-owned businesses. And we have done this. We have done this by supporting all businesses across all sectors with a range of emergency supports, because it's the right thing to do. And if this is what is needed to keep our businesses going and to bridge through this period of COVID-19. So whether it is commercial rent support or liquidity support in rent, or in loans, or helping pay, partially pay the payroll costs. I mean, a range of emergency supports, but also targeted support to make sure that women entrepreneurs who are wearing the multiple hats, that we don't lose the gains that we have deliberately sought to grow before COVID-19, so that we're positioning your businesses so that you can continue to be successful into the future, now and into the future. So today, I'm thrilled to announce $370,000 in funding for ventureLAB. This is part of the government's top-up of $15 million for the Women's Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Fund. ventureLAB, of course, is a part of that ecosystem. They were a part, like Tech Undivided was part of that. And during COVID-19, it was really important that we don't, like I said, that we don't lose the gains and that you get that support. So that's what this top-up is about. This is what this is additional funding is about. It's to give you that additional help right now during COVID-19 so that we don't lose those gains. I don't think I have to, I keep sharing these statistics, but one day I hope these statistics are not going to be that. I'm actually quite confident they won't be. But only 16% of Canada's SMEs are women-owned and women-led, and tech is even lower. So we've got to do better. And that's why it's exciting to be able to support Tech Undivided and the great work that you are doing to support women leaders in the technology field. This funding will go towards Tech Undivided. It's going to help women entrepreneurs with accessing capital, networks, customers, making sure that that ecosystem of support is there and continues to be there for women founders. And through this funding, Tech Undivided is going to be able to, I think, increase the number of women leadership roles in tech companies, including in digital health, in devices, advanced manufacturing, and digital media. And this program will make sure that women entrepreneurs continue to be able to rebuild in light of COVID-19, position them for your success, strengthen Canada's global competitiveness. So I encourage women entrepreneurs and leaders in tech across the region to make sure that they are in touch with ventureLAB, have a look at what they're doing, get to know what Tech Undivided is all about and see how it can help you. And this commitment towards women in technology has been a continued building block. I mean, it builds well beyond, well before COVID-19. And I think about the, $200 million fund that we put together specifically, a specific venture fund for women in technology. And my colleagues and I often talk about, we can't just sort of do the direct business support without making sure we do the other things that actually are supporting women and women-led businesses. So whether it's the Canada Child Benefit to help working parents, making sure that there is more safe and sufficient childcare spaces that are available through the Safe Restart program that the Prime Minister has worked with the provinces and territories about, making sure that the wraparound supports are there, and that Safe Restart program is about increased testing, increased contact tracing at the provincial level, so that work that gets done at all levels can actually support all of you. So maybe with this, I will stop talking because I know that others have lots of things to say, but just know that in the weeks and months to come, we're going to keep working to support our entrepreneurs. We're going to keep supporting Canadian workers. We're going to continue supporting our people through this economic recovery. We can't lose the gains that we made in flattening this curve. So I implore everyone, we are not out of this pandemic in COVID-19. That's the real fight, and we just got to keep doing it. And that's going to take all Canadians. So let's keep doing that, and at the same time, keep working to make sure that our economic recovery is one that that gets supported, so that we can get through this. So thank you so very much, and merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Mary. That was great. I know how busy, we were just talking before, how busy you are, and so really appreciate you taking the time. I can speak on behalf of the two founders here, the initial cohort and the second cohort that we've selected coming in the broader ecosystem, that this type of support and the wraparound supports that the federal government are making are real. And I speak that from my own personal vantage point, right? These are what really are going to fuel the economic recovery. And so, as always, you always hit the mark, but I think these are very, very important, and we're very appreciative, I think, on behalf of the team for having all of that. I think the other piece I'll mention is that we have a number of our partners from Tech Undivided on the line, and it is that collaborative commitment to give back, to have these industry leaders from companies like Tulip Retail and AMD and Bearskin and Parr, and there's quite a long list. And so if I've forgotten any, it's not from it's my lack of there is a long list of partners that we have, both public and private sector, and it's that strategic gender parity network that we've created. And I think the cross learning between founders that has been immensely impactful. So thank you. I'm now happy to introduce our next speaker, Mayor Frank Skorkovity, City of Markham. He is a huge champion of diversity, of innovation, and under Mayor's leadership, Canada is Canada's most diverse city. And you are a tireless champion of innovation, inclusivity. Here in Markham, we have 1,500 tech companies who generate 37,000 jobs. So without further ado, Mayor Skorkovity, I turn it over to you. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you very much, Melissa, and welcome to everyone, in particular Minister Mary Ng, and of course Dr. Helena Jasic, MP for Markham-Stouffville. And also want to say thank you to Alan Ho for joining us. Alan is the chair of our Economic Development Committee, and we were just in another Zoom session. That's the way life is these days. You know, you jump from one screen to another, and under Alan's leadership as our Economic Development Chair, along with Hala Duzman, who's our Vice Chair of that committee, they were having a forum of business leaders, making sure that we stay focused on what business needs from us at all levels of government to succeed and stay in business for the foreseeable future, way past the pandemic. So I don't know if Minister Ng is in the center square on everyone's screen, but she's in center square on mine. And I don't know if everyone on this call and broadcast would know what even the Hollywood squares were, but it was a great show. And the center square was always the most important square and celebrity in that game show. So I think I don't know, again, whether she's placed there in everyone's screen, she's in center square, and really today you need to be there because you've really made our week, Mary, on a week that's already been an incredible week, and sort of this week and even into just last week. And as the Minister of Small Business, Export Promotion and Trade, I want to take the moment to say thank you to you and to the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister for standing up for Canada on the aluminum tariffs. I know that there's many communities that appreciate the incredible support, many industries that appreciate the incredible support they got from the federal government. Now, I know the Prime Minister said that you'll always stand up for workers, Canadian workers, and that's certainly true. But I just want to broaden that. When you stand up for Canadian workers, you stand up for Canadian families, and in turn stand up for Canadian communities, because the reliance on people being employed and being successful makes for strong, healthy communities. So while it was perhaps for some may be viewed as a industry-specific announcement, let me tell you that had reverberates through many industries and communities. And I want to say under your leadership, and again with the Prime Minister as well, today's announcement builds on another great announcement last week of the $220 million for Black entrepreneurs across Canada. You've said it well this morning. There's women and there's many groups who face the greatest of challenges during the best of times. So one can only imagine how worse their challenges are in the worst of times. And fair to say, we're going through one of the worst times in global history, and certainly something, again, that impacts families and communities and individuals. And so I really applaud everything that the government is doing to ensure that those who face those barriers in the best of times are getting the level of support they need in the worst of times. And of course, we are extremely proud that you've recognized that ventureLAB is a great place to put the money, and a great place to instill that the money will be used wisely. And this already builds on an incredible investment that you, Minister, and the government made. You talk about a new partnership. Well, these partnerships and the advancements that are made, they are made possible because of the support that ventureLAB gets from the other levels of government. And it builds on the $5 million investment that the government made on the Hardware Catalyst initiative. This has put ventureLAB on the map. And I'll tell you something, you recognized when you came through ventureLAB, and Melissa and her team, as she always does, is able to demonstrate and articulate the importance of certain aspects of tech that drive innovation. And it didn't take very long for you to catch on that hardware is an important component of IT. It's an important component that allows innovation to happen. Things that we couldn't dream possible are made possible because of the advancement of hardware technology. And to have that initiative sitting in ventureLAB, sitting here in the city of Markham, is a credit to you and to your government. And really, it's probably a great point to just say thank you to Melissa and to her entire team. ventureLAB has had its ups and downs as any organization when it starts. And I just want to take this moment as the minister announces further investment for women to say how lucky we are in the woman that we have heading up ventureLAB, and the incredible progress and achievement that has happened since you began in the president's role. So I say thank you to you, and I know you'd be the first to say thank you to your team for making it all possible. Minister, I think the pandemic has shown the public and demonstrated to us that governments need to be working together. Mm-hmm. And without us working together, we couldn't climb some of the mountains that we have climbed. And I'll say there's perhaps no bigger mountain to climb, not just here in Canada, but around the world, to open up opportunities for women, and for women, young girls, to reach their full potential, to dream the dreams that they can fulfill, make those dreams become a reality. And there's no doubt that this investment today builds on the investment that you made previously, supporting women entrepreneurs, and through Tech Undivided, and as you indicated, a very successful program that both supports, nurtures, really allows the freedom and the ability for women to prove themselves, because we know they can do it, and they just need the right level of support, and most of all, they just need the barriers pushed out of the way. If the barriers are out of the way, look out. And I think we've seen that, and we're about to hear some wonderful examples of what women are able to do with that little bit of support and with those barriers out of the way. So whether it is a girl's dream to ultimately be in fintech, digital health, ICT, or advanced manufacturing, there's no doubt that ventureLAB, through the support of the federal government and others, enables women to have the necessary tools to reach their goals. Now, there have been incredible advancements for women. And unfortunately today, as the minister highlighted, SMEs, ICT industry, many industries are still male dominated, but that is changing, particularly in STEM. And according to Stats Canada, more than ever, women are graduating with degrees in science, technology, engineering, and math. In fact, and this is something to celebrate, there's a higher percentage of women now, 67% compared to men at 62%. Now, if that doesn't get all the squares flashing like they used to do on the Hollywood squares, I don't know what does. But again, I want to say thank you to you for this announcement. It allows women to dream. It allows them to innovate. It allows, to be honest, it allows a tremendous opportunity for a promising future that positions Markham, Ontario, indeed Canada, in a ever changing, ever particularly these days, competitive global marketplace. And I think it speaks to the core values of what we're all about as Canadians, to be honest about it. And so, no doubt, Markham is a place to come to for ventureLAB. It's a place to invest. And we know that the diverse talent in this community is why companies come here. Mm-hmm. And more companies are recognizing that we talk about diverse talent, we're talking about women who've got it, women who understand it, and women who make things possible. So thank you, Minister, to you. Thank you to Dr. Helena Jasic. Please pass on our thanks to the Prime Minister and to your cabinet colleagues. And to say that I know it's a cliche, we apply it to the pandemic to say we're in this together. But I think your investment here today demonstrates that we're in this together to ensure that women will be able to make their dreams come true at ventureLAB and be the leaders they were meant to be. Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Melissa, and appreciate all the work that everyone has done. And congratulations to the women in Tech Undivided, because you are the examples, the shining examples of why programs and our belief in ventureLAB works. And so congratulations to the successful women who've made it and have demonstrated why we need to do this. Thank you all, and appreciate being here. And I can't stay right till the very end, Minister, so I apologize, but I wanted to be here for your speech and for your announcement, and to really say it's with an abundance of gratitude on behalf of the women that aren't in this call, on behalf of the young girls who are trying to get that degree and want to make a difference in our world. So thank you.
Thanks so much, Mayor Skibidi.
Thank you, Mayor. No, I very much appreciate it. Very humbling words, Mayor, as always. And yes, there are many ventureLABers on this call who are working tirelessly behind the scenes, and it really does take a really amazing team to make this happen. So thank you. The commitment from the city of Markham goes back 10, 11 years, I think. And so we're very, very excited to continue this journey. So thank you, Mayor. Very much appreciate you being here and your support. Today, we do have two founders, Karen Wong and Ann Genge, who are going to join us. They're from our, and you can see them on the screen, they're from our first cohort who is just about to graduate. I think next week is the official graduation from when we actually were last all together, which was March. So it just kind of tells you how quickly time flies. And I think, you know, I think we were talking behind just before, how tech really does break down walls. And really enables the communities to continue to thrive despite global challenges. So without further ado, I want to introduce Karen Wong, co-founder and CEO of Tech Undivided, which is a flexible and cost-effective unified commerce platform, as well as Ann Genge, CEO of Alexio, an award-winning automated data protection suite for small businesses, which really is focused on cybersecurity, to join in a conversation with Minister Ng. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Melissa. And this is terrific. I'm going to love this conversation. I think I have one question for each of you that is unique. And then I have one question, which is the same question for both of you. So why don't I start with Anne? So your business is really interesting. And right now, during COVID-19, I would say that that it's even more interesting. And I think you've had to pivot your business, and I think you've used this opportunity to pivot and to grow. And I've often been, I used to say you need to see it to be it, as a, you know, as a women leader, so that, as the mayor says, for all those young girls out there, they shouldn't even think of it anymore. Like, they just are seeing these extraordinary women leaders. But I'm saying that now to businesses, and to businesses that right now during COVID-19, as I said, there's a spectrum, and many have found it very difficult. But there have been others who've actually during this time found the way to pivot and use the opportunity to pivot. So on that, can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I think your story is something to be shared as a, you gotta, you know, this is seeing it to be it.
Well, first of all, Minister Ng, I want to thank you so much for being such a constant, fierce warrior for women in tech and the Tech Undivided program, which has provided a real giant launch pad for us. Fortunately for us, Alexio Defender, our main product, was already well on its way to establishing itself as a cybersecurity solution for healthcare practices like dentists and physicians. And as you know, when COVID hit and everything locked down, many of these healthcare providers had no other way to connect with their patients except for over teleconferencing or telehealth. And one of the things that was very unique about Alexio is that we were able to provide enterprise class cybersecurity for smaller healthcare practices that didn't have big budgets or access to technical experts to really create security in the same way as a hospital or a large organization would. But what we found was right away, we were actually able to fill that gap. Because of the way our product worked, we're able to secure a computer system no matter where someone's working. So whether they were working from their cottage or their home and not having the luxury of network security that they might have in their office, we were rapidly able to become the gold standard for ensuring peace of mind and security of patient health information or people working with sensitive business or client data. So we're very, very lucky.
Well, I think it's not luck. I actually think that that it is your entrepreneurialism and being able to look at your business and the business meeting a very real need and then going after that business. So so good for you, Karen. So you heard me say a little earlier that only 16% of SMEs are owned or led by women, and we are all working very hard, you know, to change that. And you being here is an example of absolutely that change. But you're also, both of you, I mean, but you know, you're working in a space that is quite dominated and continues to be by male leaders in tech. So can you, you know, tell us your story and tell us, you know, tell us your story, but also, you know, offer some advice to other female founders in tech, because again, on that theme of you got to see it to be it, I would like us to fast forward and those young girls not even think at all. But it's because they're walking on the shoulders of you who are here. So tell us your story and what advice do you have for other female founders in tech?
Sure. Thank you so much, Minister Ng, for having me. And of course, I just want to do a quick thank you for ventureLAB and for this amazing program. Minister, I think I wanted to point out that the government support that my business and all of my customers have been receiving from the federal, provincial, actually at every level has been invaluable during this pandemic for us, right? I'm in the retail sector. Everybody here knows how badly that sector has been hit. And my story is a little unconventional because I don't come from a conventional technical background. And that's, I think, the point of it all,
That's
right?
the point.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? So I was in marketing. I started my own distribution company when I was in my 20s in Canada. I moved to Asia for 8 years. I eventually moved to manufacturing. I started a retail business. So I come from actually the user technology perspective. But the fact is, when you run a business, any type of business, a lot of the things are the same, right? Making payroll, trying to improve your revenue, trying to grow, marketing, all of those things are the same. And when you're building technology, you need those functions and all of those type of skills, right? And so for me, the key advice for a lot of people is there are no doors that are closed. There are no industries that are not touched by technology. And so we have to be a part of that. And one other thing is, of course, don't be afraid to ask, because that is one thing many women don't do, only because they feel that they don't know, or they're afraid of the answer, or they're afraid to look stupid, right? It happens still, unfortunately, with even, I notice my female staff. And so it's one thing I encourage everybody to do. And of course, to ask for help whenever you need that. And that's just something that I think most people here know, but I just have to highlight all the time still today, unfortunately.
Well, I think that that brings it to the question I'm going to ask both of you, and I'll go back to Anne. And it is about Tech Undivided, and how has sort of the program helped a women entrepreneur like each of you, and certainly in the tech field. But I won't sort of get into the answer. I sort of I think in my brain I'm like, well, I know that's what they do. I mean, all the things you just talked about is exactly what they do. But Anne, how has Tech Undivided help? I mean, particularly now, and sort of and for the next cohort that is starting this, your advice to them to get the most out of it.
Yeah, Alexio is not my first experience as a startup company, and certainly I've been through a lot of accelerators before, but none provided the support and the access to filling in the gaps of knowledge that I didn't have, like Tech Undivided has. What is particularly notable to me is I started in the tech sector back in 2007. Alexio came about in 2017. But for the longest time, I was really the only woman in the room. What Tech Undivided has done has put a huge spotlight on female tech innovators. And we are, when I look at this cohort that I just went through with, wow, I almost wanted to drop what I was doing and start working with any one of them, because the incredible talent and the huge problems being solved. And that was really just so exciting for me. And then being able to work alongside them and have the collaboration amongst the group was amazing also. Just, it's very confidence building, it's very supportive, but also I want to give huge kudos to ventureLAB. I've been with them for 3 years, but during this program especially, which started right actually when we got shut down. And I'm sure everybody thought, wow, now what's going to happen? But they seamlessly delivered, using Zoom and just really wonderful communication from the group, brought in amazing advisors, amazing mentors, and then we're just constantly in touch with us and making sure that our hands were held through some of the stuff and shared in our every part of our journey. So I'm very grateful. And I'm even more grateful that more money is coming into this program, because ventureLAB really knows how to do it and really knows how to take people from here and boom, just to the universe.
That's terrific. Karen, same question.
Well, for me, it's going to come back a little bit to the non-technical background, right? So I mentioned earlier, I didn't have that technical background that most people here have, or a lot of people have in our field. And so I didn't know the questions I needed to ask. I didn't even know there were questions that existed, right, in many cases. So the terminology that I didn't understand, what resources I needed to go to, how to grow my business, how does one do that, especially if you're talking about enterprise and global markets, which obviously ventureLAB focuses on. So for me, I'm very grateful to be part of programs like this, and especially because of the focus of ventureLAB as an innovation hub in those sectors. And of course, for me, it is certainly similar to Anne, role models, right? The ability to talk to peers. And when I go back to the questions and being able to ask those questions, it's a safe place to ask those questions. Having access to those advisors and mentors have made a tremendous difference to the way I'm now running my business, and hopefully the way in which and the speed at which I'm going to be growing it moving forward.
Well, that's excellent. I mean, you know, you both have touched on things that are very dear to my heart, which is, you know, growth, speed of that growth, being unafraid about, you know, about where your company is going to go to. And you know, and I guess the final word really is, you know, thank you to ventureLAB for what you are doing and what you've done with this program. And the, you know, the success that you're building in these, in both of you, but all of the others, which I can't wait to meet. So I don't know, Melissa, let's, you know,
We're gonna have to figure it out.
so that I can figure it out and meet them all. But
For sure.
But yeah, and it's like everything, right? I mean, governments are not the ones that create the businesses, but we need to create the environment for you to succeed. And we learn along the way as well. We're not perfect, but we do certainly want to understand what works and where it works. Then let's do more of it. And you know, it's you know, the Prime Minister's mandate to me is really clear: growth, prosperity, and growth that is inclusive. The one number that I didn't talk about here is, you know, not only do we have to increase the number of women-led businesses in our country because it's the right thing to do, but it is a compelling economic strategy. I mean, certainly before COVID-19, but I don't think the number really changes that much. I mean, the number may, but the idea doesn't. I mean, you know, including women into the Canadian economy can add up to $150 billion to the GDP, right? Like, so we have to do it. It's you know, as the mayor said, it's good for, it's not just good for the businesses, which of course it is, but when it's good for the businesses, it's good for people, it's good for our communities, and it makes for a better Canada. So so thank you all, and thank you ventureLAB for your terrific leadership. And keep doing what you do, and you let me know what I can do, and we'll just keep doing it.
Minister, thank you so much. Thank you, Karen and Anne, for joining us. And Mayor, I know you had to go, but you know, listening to the conversation, that's what we're here. And Minister, you know this because we've had so many discussions before. ventureLAB's differentiation is because we walked these shoes. Prior to ventureLAB, I was 20 plus years in tech, grew a semiconductor, which is why we have HCI, and because of the strength in York Region and in Markham, right? Yeah. So we know the resilience it takes. We know the pitfalls from a capital, from a talent, from a technology. And so, you know, and if I, you know, look at kind of how we really raise all boats and really push this and accelerate this forward, it's because we have this immense fortunate base to be in Canada, and the world are all of our customers, right? And our partners. And I think that's the diversity and the inclusivity of what tech actually enables on a global scale. And so you know, Mary, we've had lots of different conversations, and it's incredible and very inspiring always, genuinely, to just listen to the types of conversations that we have. I know that I'm also a parent, right? Yes. And so I have 3 young children under the age of 12, and 2 out of the 3 want to be entrepreneurs and then prime minister, a girl, a boy. So I said, you guys can, you know what, duke it out I don't even know what your political affiliations are, but I think, you know, what that's really speaking about is the role modeling piece, right? It comes full circle. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody. I'm just going to wrap up. You know, Tech Undivided is really focused on the unconscious bias, and we just covered a lot of that here. And so we are excited to be seeing all of our founders on this journey. I want to thank you, Minister, Government of Canada, with FedDev Ontario, the Federal Women Entrepreneurship Strategy. I think that has been a landmark, global, trend-setting benchmark, right, for what we're trying to do in terms of really creating gender parity. And we're very excited to be leading it here. So with that, I'm going to say thank you. I think what you've seen here are founders who are going to be really leading Canada in terms of the global innovation race. So thank you. Thank you all for being here.